Merry Christmas. I grew up listening to a news commentator, Paul Harvey, and every Christmas he would tell a special story. It was about a man and the birds. The man was a kind, decent, mostly good man, generous to his family, upright in his dealings with other men, but he just didn't believe in all that incarnation stuff that the church proclaimed at Christmas time. It just didn't make sense. And he was too honest to pretend otherwise. He just couldn't swallow the Jesus story about God coming to earth as a man. He told his wife, "I'm truly sorry to upset you, but I'm not going with you to the church this Christmas Eve." He said he would feel like a hypocrite and that he would much rather just stay at home, but that he would wait up for them. So he stayed, and his family went to the midnight Christmas service. Shortly after the family drove away, snow began to fall. He went to the window to watch the flurries getting heavier and heavier, and then he went back to his fireside chair and began to read. Minutes later, he was startled by a thudding sound, and then another and another. At first, he thought someone must be throwing snowballs against the living room window. But when he went to the front door to investigate, he found a flock of birds huddled outside miserably in the snow. They'd been caught in the storm, and in a desperate search for shelter, they tried to fly through his large landscape window. That's what'd been making the sound. Well, he couldn't let the poor creatures just lie there and freeze, so he remembered the barn where his children stabled their pony. That would provide a warm shelter. All he would have to do is to direct the birds into the shelter. Quickly, he put on a coat and overshoes, and he tramped through the deepening snow to the barn. He opened the doors wide, turned on a light so the birds would know the way in. But the birds did not come in. He figured that food would entice them. He hurried back to the house, fetched some breadcrumbs. He sprinkled them on the snow, making a trail of breadcrumbs to the yellow-lighted, wide-open doorway of the stable. But to his dismay, the birds ignored the breadcrumbs. The birds continued to flap around helplessly in the snow. He tried catching them, but he could not. He tried shooing them into the barn by walking around and waving his arms. Instead, they scattered in every direction except into the warm, lighted barn. And that's when he realized they were afraid of him. To them, he reasoned, I'm a strange and terrifying creature. If only I could find a way to let them know they can trust me, that I am not trying to hurt them, but to help them. But how? Any move he tended to make frightened them and confused them. They just would not follow. They would not be led or shooed because they feared him. He thought to himself, if only I could be a bird and mingle with them and speak their language, then I could tell them not to be afraid. I could show them the way to the safe, warm barn. But I would have to be one of them so they could see and hear and understand. It was at that moment that those church bells began to ring. The sound reached his ears above the sounds of the wind. He stood there listening to the bells. Adeste Fidelis, oh come, all ye faithful. Listening to the bells pealing the glad tidings of Christ and Christmas. And then he sank to his knees in the snow. At that moment, he realized why Jesus came to earth, to live among us, to be one of us, so we might hear of and know the way to the warm safety of the Savior's arms and have the hope of eternity with Christ. This Christmas, Be thankful for the incarnate Christ who became a man, and be sure others know of God's great love for them. For God so loved the world that he gave his Son. From Judy and me and our entire Media Alliance family, Merry Christmas.